like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Yo, what up, guys? Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum songwriter, artist, Straight Game TV. And today I want to tell y'all an exclusive story about, it was a night in 1996. And on this particular night, I seen 2Pac in Hollywood at two different places on the same night. And like I said, this is a very, very interesting story, because on the first place that we were at, I expected to see him, you know what I mean? But the second place that we went to, or that I seen him at when I got there, I didn't expect to see him. And so on this particular night, the first place was the Century Club. So we were at the Century Club. Century Club was popping. Like I said, for people who knew about the Century Club back in the early 90s, late 90s, it was the place to be. Like I said, it wasn't nothing to see Lakers, you know what I mean, ball players, actors, rappers, musicians, and so on and so forth. And so on this particular night, you know, as the club would end, you know, people would go to certain spots in Hollywood, like after-hour spots, underground after-hour spots, or well-known after-hour spots. It all depends on, you know, what you wanted to do. And it was this one in particular restaurant that people will go to also, called Jerry's Deli, which was near Beverly Hills on San Vicente Boulevard. And that was a very hot spot to go. Like I said, you know, it was nothing to see, just like, you know, everyday celebrities, people you would see on TV, just chilling with their friends, eating, having food, and having a real good time, you know, like after the club or whatever. And so on this particular night, I usually would take the 405 and just go straight back to Long Beach, where I was staying at that particular time. But on this particular night, I wanted to go cross town. So you would go, the Century Club was on the spot on a street called Avenue of the Stars. And so right down, like 2 blocks down, a block or two down was Santa Monica Boulevard. And this is where the club that I went to was on. That the second club, the place that I went to, was on that I seen 2Pac. So I decided to go cross town to take the 101 to the 110 to the 710 back to Long Beach and hit this spot, you know, on my way home. So as I get to the spot, the place was called Peanuts. And on this particular night, yeah, you know, Peanuts. And I want to tell you how I got introduced to Peanuts so that you understand. I had a friend of mine who was an actor before I came to LA, and he had done a few major roles. He had done The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He had done The Cosby Show, and so on and so forth. You know, a couple of major roles in some movies and things like that. My man Keith Amos, rest in peace. And so on this particular night, I'm hanging out with him, you know what I mean? And he knew everybody, you know what I mean, in Black Hollywood. They kind of had their own, you know, kind of crew or whatever. So we coming from this one club. And at the end of the club that we coming from on this particular night, I'm like, yo, what you about to do? He was like, yeah, I'm about to go to the gay club. I'm like, the gay club? Like, what you mean the gay club? He was like, nah, it ain't like that. He was like, yo, it's a all female club. It's a lesbian club. He was like, and everybody, you know, go there. I'm like, word? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, so I'm like, all right. So he's like, you know, you can go. I'm like, okay, cool. So we go to the club. And, you know, when we get there, like I said, he ain't had no problem getting in. Like I said, they knew him and so on and so forth. And so from there, he was like, you know, introduced me as his folks and so on and so forth. And so we get in there. And when we get in there on this particular night, it's packed. It's like, you know, I'm like, wow, like, you know, you see, seeing people that I would see like on TV. I'm like, wow, what, you know, what's going on? But it's some of the most beautiful women that you ever possibly could see in Hollywood. And it would be like what he described was like this strippers coming, you know, from strip clubs or whatever. And they all, you know, it was just that type of environment. And like I said, you know, major players would come through. Mike Tyson, I heard Mike Tyson talk about it. Jamie Foxx, actually Mike Tyson, I think a story about him giving some girl a car or something like that, or buying some girl a car like on that night, or giving her one of his cars or something like that at Peanuts. And so that's the type of vibe it was, you know what I mean? And so on the particular night when we coming from the Century Club, when I seen Tupac there, was okay. So going across town, stop at Peanuts, boom, go in there. I ain't really had no problem, getting in, no more, whatever. So on this particular night, when I get into the club, sizing the room up once again, you seeing people who was in the industry and so on and so forth, whether it was, musicians, actors, whatever. And so on this particular night, I see Pac, and he's sitting at the bar, and he got a drink in his hand, and he's talking to this girl. She was drop dead gorgeous, period. Bottom line, the type of chick that you would look at and say, what is she doing in here? You know what I mean? Like, she beautiful. What is she doing in here? But like I said, it was what it was. And I would say a couple of minutes later, shortly after that, this one young lady, she walks over to where Tupac and them are. And, she's a little bit on the more masculine side, I should say, you know what I mean? But she's gorgeous too. And I'm like, wow. And so she walks over to the girl that Tupac is talking to, and she actually kissed her in the mouth. And I was like, whoa. Like, I'm thinking something about to happen. I'm thinking the girl trying to, establish that to Tupac that, this my girl or whatever. And so the girl that Tupac was talking to, whispered into the girl's ear that just kissed her. And then the other girl actually whispered back in her ear. And she then grabs Tupac's hand and escorts him out the door. So they go out the door. And mind you, on this particular night, Tupac is driving his black Rolls Royce. The top is down. And they go out to the parking lot and they get in his car. Mind you, Tupac get in first. The masculine young lady, you know what I mean? She was beautiful too, but like I said, more on the guy side of the girl relationship or whatever. She gets in second, and the one that Tupac was initially talking to gets in third. And so as they in the car, the one young lady that came over and kissed the girl, she started kissing Tupac. And while she's kissing Tupac, the other young lady, the one that he was initially talking to, is taking off her clothes. And then the girl who's kissing Tupac starts to undo his button. And as she starts to undo his button, she then goes down on him and starts giving him head. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, it's so like, it was unreal. I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, this shit is just some real player shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so after she gives Tupac head, Tupac then, you know how you sitting in the back, so you got three people in the back seat, and somebody wants to scoot over. So the girl, she was in the middle, Tupac was on the end. So the girl, she actually gets up, gets over Tupac. Tupac scoots underneath of her over to the other girl who actually just took off her clothes. And Tupac started hitting it. He was pounding her out in the car. I was like, wow. On Santa Monica Boulevard, 96, Peanuts, the nightclub. I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? And like I said, at this particular time, it was more after hours. It wasn't like the regular club night. Like I said, you coming in, and so you couldn't really even, like I said, you couldn't even get in to Peanuts, at this particular time if you didn't really know somebody. Like during the regular time, you might be able to try to slide in, but during that, if they didn't know you, you're not getting in. Period. Bottom line. And so Pac banging her out. Man, Tupac was a monster. And the crazy part is, and so a little while longer, if you will, when Tupac did the song Toss It Up, he said something and to the effect of I'm pulled over, getting busy in the parking lot. Don't you like how I like you? Lick your lips and glide. Push my love inside, or something like that. He says that, right? So I'm not sure if he was talking about that night, but yeah. You know what I mean? That's how he got down. And like I said, that night in particular, for me, it was mind blowing, because the only thing I could think about was, yo, these girls would do anything, for celebrities. But it was Tupac, and it was Peanuts. And like I said, you would have had to be there to understand like what this was about. Like the early 90s, it was a little bit different than, what it is now. You know what I mean? And I tell that story to say this. So a couple of weeks ago, they put out, the Tupac estate put out some clothing that people thought was questionable in reference to supporting the LGBTQ community. And there was a lot of hoopla on the internet and through various platforms, some people basically questioning whether Tupac would have agreed to release those or agreed with that. And let me tell you, first and foremost, me personally, I don't know what he would have agreed with. You know what I mean? He's not here. And we 26, 27 years removed from his death. So like I say, me personally, I couldn't go there, and I won't try to depict or give you an opinion on whether I think he would have or wouldn't have. I don't know. But what I do know is he wasn't the type of person who would be scared to be in that environment. You know what I mean? Like I said, he knew what Peanuts was, I'm sure. And I knew what Peanuts was. And like I said, it was the player spot. You know what I mean? So I say that to say, a lot of times people want to superimpose what they believe or tell you what a person would have and wouldn't have done. And like I said, me personally, 26, 27 years removed from his death, the only person that could actually tell you if he would agree with that would be Tupac Shakur. And he's not here to say that. So I'm going to leave that, at that. Like I said, that's the estate's business, not my business. Like I said, I'm just telling the story about when we was at Peanuts that night, coming from the Century Club. And so, and I'll say this, as to add to that, like I said, just the type of person that Tupac was overall. He was a universal soldier, you know what I mean? And I didn't never really see him, from my perspective, really hate on anybody from that perspective, So, and here's another thing, another story that you might be aware of. This was at the early 90s, and Queen Latifah had talked about her doing a show in San Francisco at a gay club. And she said it was one of her first shows, and actually that Tupac was in town, because he was a son of the Bay, the Bay Area, Oakland, Marin City, the whole 9 yards, and that he had came through and supported her, for her show, you know what I mean? No, Tupac wasn't gay, not at all, like I said, but once again, it just shows the type of person that he was. He was a genuine dude. And so she said, yeah, he came through. They had a wonderful time that night. And she said she made like $10,000, and it was one of her first shows. And how at this show in particular, they wanted Tupac to take his shirt off, I guess to see his tattoos or whatever. And Tupac was like, no, you know what I mean? Which goes to show you that, I can come here to support my friend, but I'm not with the business. You know what I mean? That's just not who I am. That's not what I represent. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. So at that particular time, most people would say, okay, cool. It is what it is. But like I said, coming from Queen Latifah, somebody who did Juice with Tupac, somebody who knew Tupac before he was the Tupac that we all had came to know after that, or should I say you guys had all came to know afterwards. You know what I mean? Like I said, he was a universal dude, and he ain't really hate on nobody. And like I said, I tell those stories to just basically say that, like I said, in regards to what Tupac would have or wouldn't have supported, I don't really know. But I know in his life, like I said, from what I saw the night we were at Peanuts and the whole 9 yards, that wasn't something that he was into, hating on people. because of whatever they were into or where they would perform or, handling their business. And I'm going to leave you with this one here, just like when Gianni Versace called Tupac. And no, Tupac didn't call him. Gianni Versace called Tupac and asked him to come and model his clothes. And like I said, everybody knew Versace was a gay gentleman. And so at the end of the day, Tupac went there, he handled his business, and I'm sure he knew that Versace was gay, but he didn't judge him and say, man, I ain't going over there, man. He this, that, and the other. He was a professional. And like I said, Tupac was an actor and a rapper. And in Hollywood, you deal with people of all different backgrounds. That's just the way it is. But Tupac was the type of guy who could move in different circles and not really be a part of that circle. Because like I said, once again, he was handling his business and he was feeding his family. And so, like I said, at the end of the day, those are just the situations in which I seen Tupac in real life settings, and not somebody's opinion who never met Tupac, didn't know Tupac, and didn't hang out with Tupac. Like I say, your boy DELRAY, Straight Game TV, exclusive story coming from me. Real talk, your boy. Click like, click share, one love, and thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you.